Now boarding solo flight with Nicole Anderson. Hey guys, welcome back to the pod. Today we're going to be talking about something that is so important for all of us, but especially because it is Women's Month. We are going to be discussing women's health and also debunking some myths and answering some of your questions about our health in general. And if you think about it as a society, a lot of our questions or conversations about our health, especially women's health, are done in small, personal, one-on-one conversations behind closed doors. And I feel that it's only beneficial for us to have these open conversations, especially online, because a lot of women may not have the resources to have these questions answered, or we simply don't know. I myself am one of them. A lot of the information that I found out in this episode, I didn't know was possible, and I didn't actually know that those things existed. So I really wanted to do this episode to focus on putting the point across that taking the time to know what's happening to your body is so important, but also as a society, we need to understand that self-care doesn't just mean taking an hour to scroll on TikTok or making sure that you do a 12-step skincare routine. That's self-care. Self-care also means that you know that you are healthy physically and mentally, and your entire being is healthy. And that self-care is not selfish, because in our culture, we're raised to always be mapagbigay and to be caring, to be caregivers, and to always put people's needs ahead of our own. And yes, that's great. And, that's one of the reasons why we have such a great community as Filipinos. But also, it's not selfish to take care of yourself also. So I'm hoping that with this episode, maybe you guys will learn a little bit of something, or share this episode with a woman in your life that you love and that you care for and that you think would benefit from learning from this episode. So today we're going to be debunking myths and misconceptions about women's health. And to help us do that is our guest, Dr. Maria Jesusa Banal Silao. Dr. Banal Silao is currently the Associate Professor of UP College of Medicine at the Department of OBGYN. She's also a graduate of UP College of Medicine, residency training in OBGYN, fellowship training in reproductive endocrinology and infertility, additional IVF training in the USA and in Vietnam. She earned her master's degree in biotechnology of human-assisted reproduction and embryology at the University of Valencia, Spain. And she is also past president of the Philippine Menopause Society, as well as the Philippine Society of Reproductive Medicine. Hey guys, we are currently here with Dr. Maria Jesusa Banal Silao.
Yes.
But
Hi,
Doc,
Nicole.
how would you like for me to refer to you?
My
as?
friends and you may call me Duchess.
Naks
Yeah, that's my
naman.
nickname.
Okay, so pero dapat may doktora pa rin. Kasi
Up to you.
pinaghirapan
Yeah,
niyo yung doc. So
Oy,
dapat
thank you,
papanindigan natin
thank
yun.
you. And I think I'm older than you. Much older, so yes, you. Doc Duchess.
Doc
no?
Duchess.
Okay.
First of all, I'm so honored that you took the time to spend on the podcast and to educate all of us with all of your vast knowledge about OBGYN, women's health, and fertility. And we got so many questions about it. Pero Doc, I think the reason why it's so important, kasi syempre, di ba, Women's Month ngayon.
Yes.
And Pinoys are generally quite shy. We don't really talk about our physical health
Yes.
down there.
Yes.
Diba? And so I'm so excited to talk to you because I feel like ang dami nating misconceptions or ang dami nating hindi alam, or yung mga sabi-sabi na mga tita, pero hindi mo alam what's true, right?
That's true. That's true.
So, in your experience, what would you say are like common misconceptions about women's health or about going to the OB?
Yeah, but before anything else, I'd like to thank you for
Ay.
giving me this opportunity. Because like I said, I want to greet all women out there, your thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, a happy Women's Month. So this is the time to pamper ourselves and be updated. So yes, a common misconception, especially Filipino women, they want having heavy bleeding. They think that heavy menses are normal.
Yeah. Okay,
Diba?
yan din yung fear
Yeah,
ko. So,
yeah.
ano ba yung normal? Ano yung normal amount?
Yeah, so if by the book, 'di ba, they would say that heavy bleeding is if your menstrual cycle is the volume is more than 80 ml in a cycle. But who would
Pero
measure
Dok,
that?
sino naman
But now, no, you use now menstrual cups. I'm so like
Yes.
happy with
Pero
my
may measurement ba yun?
Yeah, I think parang it's 5 ml. I asked because I never
Yeah.
knew there was a menstrual cup until I had a Gen Z
Okay.
patient. So, but yes, that's objective. But
Okay.
subjectively, you ask the patient if she complains that, Doc, before it used to be like 3 pads and now I'm consuming 5 pads or a diaper,
Okay.
or I'm commonly staining my underpants,
Okay.
or I have to wake up in the evening to change.
Yeah.
So those are, and especially if it affects the quality of life, like, Doc, because of my heavy menses, I don't play pickleball on my menstruation.
It's affecting your
yes,
life na.
that's now the recommended definition of what abnormal bleeding is. So we should not take that for granted. So
Okay.
it's time to consult. It's not normal kasi tama ka eh. In the olden times, women, our moms would say, oh, it's nice. Diba? The
Yeah.
lola would say, oh, it's nice. It's like you're being purged
Yeah.
from your sins.
Yeah.
When you menstruate heavily until you faint or until you're easily tired.
Yeah. Is it normal to faint? Kasi nag-faint ako dati. I used to faint
Actually,
when I was
yun-
younger.
Yun,
Not na.
yun. I think that's more of the weather. Yung parang, or means sometimes it's orthostatic. But yes, fainting actually is not normal.
Okay.
So unless it's really hot, usually it's a chapel yan. Were you in church?
No, pero
Please?
I think it was mostly stress and then also like
So dehydration can cause
I think it's
that.
dehydration,
The
ganyan.
lack of sleep, or
Yeah.
if you haven't eaten that time.
Yeah.
Or if you're anemic.
yun din.
Yes, I had a patient, she's so like educated and all, and
Yeah.
then she fainted, bumped her head, was confined in the ICU, all because she was heavily bleeding and she did not notice it.
Oh no.
And her hemoglobin dropped
Okay.
too low.
And at what age should you start going to the OBGYN just to make sure that everything's okay? Kasi
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends, even friends in their 30s who've
Mm-hmm.
never visited the OB. Because in their mind, they've never felt an issue. They
Yeah.
never had pain. They
Yes.
never fainted. They never...
Yeah.
Parang for them, it was just normal.
So that is again true, especially in our culture.
Yeah.
So usually we don't really go to the OB until we want to get pregnant, or
Yeah.
we're planning our wedding, or if there's something abnormal.
Yeah.
But now, because we know, have you heard of the HPV vaccine?
Yes, I've heard of
So
it. Yeah.
it's given as early as 9 or 11 to 12 years old. Yeah.
How
so
come
it's
that early?
Because if you know, diba, almost all vaccines are given at a young age,
Okay.
because that is the time that our body produces the most adequate number of antibodies and before exposure to the virus.
So,
Right?
kumbaga
So,
gusto mong maagapan.
Yes,
Okay.
because that will significantly lower the incidence of cervical cancer, which
That's
is what
right.
we want to lower in our country. It's still
Yeah.
number 2 in our country. Yes.
okay.
So in developed countries, it's hardly heard of having
Yeah.
cervical cancer because they usually have a pap smear, HPV DNA code testing. So that's one reason to go.
Okay.
Even if you're just an adolescent or even 9 or
Yeah.
11 to 12 is usually the average onset, you should go.
Okay.
Okay? If you're feeling like the dysmenorrhea, like pelvic pain during menses, if you think it's becoming worse, because sometimes it can be physiologic in a sense that there's a bit of pain. They say, especially if it's regular, it may connote that you're ovulating.
Okay.
But if it's getting more severe, or
Yeah.
you have to take a pain reliever every time, or it becoming acyclic, meaning even if you don't have menses, it's still painful, then you go see. Even if
Okay.
you're not in the reproductive age group. Okay?
Okay.
Once you're sexually active, I think you should see your OBGYN.
Okay.
Just to know how, again, even I have patients even coming from exclusive schools and there is not much advice
Yes.
on contraception, sexually
Yeah.
transmitted infection. So that is the best time also. If you're planning to be sexually active or if you're already sexually active, then you might as well see
Yeah.
your OBGYN. If you have a family history, a strong family history of breast cancer,
Also that.
gynecologic cancers, yes. Just
So,
so that,
breast also is part of
yeah, part of the
OBGYN.
gynecologic checkup or a women's health checkup.
Okay.
So your vaccines, having your pap smear, when to do your pap smears, regularity of your menses, if it's becoming irregular, if you don't know what irregular is,
Yeah.
right? Especially if it's accompanied by some symptoms. Sometimes having excess hair or excess pimples, or
Also.
gaining too much weight, or
Okay.
or losing weight unintentionally, because most of the time, like teenagers really just want to lose weight. Then those are the reasons that you can consult your OBGYN even at an early age.
Exactly. And I think just like every other, I guess, aspect of our physicality or of our health in general, right? Isn't it always the old adage to say na mas mabuting maagapan kesa.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
always better to have, I guess, a patient record earlier on para if anything ever happens, at least may history ka na, okay,
Yes,
alam mong
yes.
hindi to normal or this only started this year. Parang mga ganon.
You are like a doctor. Yeah. You know, the most important really is primary prevention for anything. When you say primary prevention, you don't want it to happen, right?
Yeah.
If it's secondary, it's already there. Meaning you have heart disease already, you have diabetes, and then we just give you meds. So what we want is you don't have to take anything, right? You be healthy as much as
Okay.
possible. Yeah. So it won't hurt if you see your OBGYN, you like go with your ate or your tita or your mom, or
Yeah.
or when there is not enough advice in school, you can just ask. More important is you get a referral from a friend, or rather than like Googling.
How do we reduce the stigma or the takot na going to visit the OB for the first time? Because, diba, they say, or when I was younger, they say you shouldn't go to the OB hanggat you don't plan to be sexually active, because they say parang, diba, when you do the ultrasound, the intra ultrasound, parang you lose your virginity.
The transvaginal.
Diba they say that?
Yes, yes.
So, what's your take on that, though?
If there is no need to do an ultrasound, we really don't. And for
okay.
adolescent, actually, even if there is already a complaint, so
Okay.
it depends on the complaint. So
Yeah.
really, we don't really do a transvaginal. You can do an abdominal ultrasound, like here in the
okay.
pelvic area, or sometimes a transrectal ultrasound, meaning through the.
Yeah.
But because the incidence of really worrisome gynecologic conditions are not that high in the younger age group.
Okay.
So usually, if we don't need to do an ultrasound, we don't even do an internal examination. Oh, you're
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Because it's scary enough to go to
Yeah.
the clinic. What more that you will
Subject
Yes,
them,
yes,
yeah,
and it's
okay.
always in the presence of the mother or the guardian when we
Okay.
examine the
So,
adolescent.
at what age do they have to go with a guardian? Is it until 18 and then they can go alone, or is
Yes,
it
yes. So
18?
usually the definition of adolescence, but sometimes I have patients who come without any guardian, and we can examine them. We can, as
okay.
long as, like, if it's a pelvic exam,
Yeah.
I would ask that you can come visit me
Yeah.
the next time. You
Okay.
bring your ate or your mom with you.
Yeah. Also, one misconception is that can wearing a bra cause breast cancer?
Yeah, no.
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 Yeah, I thought that, but I would actually be really surprised because some people really send in messages where I'm like,
Really?
how?
Up to now,
what?
ah?
Yes.
Yo.
Nako, Doc. I'll share with you more later, pero hindi na siya pwede
Yeah,
pang ano, baka,
yeah.
baka
No.
pang PG-13 na yun.
No, that's another misconception is if you get hit on your breast, right?
Yeah.
Like they ask that commonly. If you get
Yeah.
hit with your breast, will it cause cancer?
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay. Also, is it true that cancer is the leading cause of death for women in the Philippines right now?
No, the leading cause of death for all over actually is really still heart disease. More for
Oh.
male and female. But the
Okay.
number one cause of cancer mortality in women is breast cancer. So in a way that's true. But
Okay.
if you ask what will you die, parang what is your most common cause of exit? It's heart disease.
Oh, okay. And is it true that you cannot get pregnant after you start menopause?
Yes, because your ovaries are practically dormant. So
Okay.
once you stop producing the hormones, estrogen, progesterone, so you do not produce any more eggs.
Is
They're-
that what that means? Menopause
Yes.
means you no longer produce eggs.
Menopause is defined as actually a cessation of menstruation brought about by a drop in your hormones.
Okay.
Yes.
So, pero kapag yung mga symptoms pa lang na menopause, pwede pa.
Yeah, perimenopause. So that's what we
Ay,
call it. So in your late
okay.
40s. So that's why you can still get pregnant when you're in
Okay.
your perimenopause because you still have your hormones, although it's more infrequent. So
Okay.
higher chances that you miscarry, but higher chance also of an accidental pregnancy. That's why you will be surprised, diba? Late 40s, some of your
Yeah.
friends will say, "Oh, I'm menopause," and then
Yeah, all of
Uh,
a sudden.
they're pregnant,
Yeah.
right? So if you're still sexually active, you might as well use a contraceptive if you
Okay.
haven't been ligated or no permanent sterilization was done.
Okay. Can you get pregnant when you are breastfeeding your child?
Actually, that's a nice question.
Really?
So breastfeeding has so many benefits,
Okay.
right? So one benefit is it can be a form of contraceptive.
Really?
Oh, but wait, ha?
Oh.
So, it's what we call, so medically, the medical term is lactational amenorrhea. Amenorrhea
Okay.
meaning you don't menstruate.
Okay.
So this is only within the first 6 months of pregnancy that
Okay.
it can be a contraceptive, because if you regular breastfeeding meaning the interval of breastfeeding during the day should be less than or equal to 4 hours, and
Okay.
at night is less than or equal to 6 hours, because if you're constantly breastfeeding, your brain releases a hormone that sort of prevents you from ovulating.
Oh, that's
But
so cool.
but this is only within 6 months. Sometimes nga, I advise them only within the first 10 to 12 weeks, because sometimes when the baby gets bigger, right, and you start supplemental feeding, then you breastfeed less frequently.
Okay.
So there can be like a lulusot na ovulation. That's why
Pwedeng may makalusot.
Yes, that's why some
so
of
don't take it as a end all be all.
yeah, so some
Okay.
patients will say, "Oh, I'm not pregnant. I'm breastfeeding," and then
Yeah.
again, surprise, they're pregnant even if they never had a menstruation post pregnancy.
Even
Yes.
without
Yes, so
menstruation.
because yun nga, that's why it's only within the first 6 months, and the
Okay.
supplemental feeding should be less than 5%. So
Okay.
once your baby hits 6 months, syempre you have mixed feeding for sure. You will start solids.
Okay.
So unless you pump still, that's not already a good form of contraceptive. So you should like
So if
do
you're
a
trying
more
to avoid pregnancy, be careful. Wag don't
Yeah,
count
so-
on just that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
usually I advise patients like, you know nga, if you're really on the dot that you breastfeed, but not all the time, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you would forget 4 to 6, the interval becomes longer. So
Yeah.
that can be a risk.
Okay.
So you can already advise them 8 weeks postpartum or post-delivery to start another contraceptive. If they are still breastfeeding, there are contraceptive options that are safe.
Buti na lang. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Buti, akala mo naman. Buti na.
In the future!
Good
in
to
the
know for the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Another person asks, is cranberry juice really a cure for a urinary tract infection?
Again,
or does
that
it help?
is, yeah, in a way it helps.
Okay.
So it's not a treatment.
It's
but
not
it
yung
may be-
gamot talaga.
Yes, na you have UTI, oh, you take this and you
Ah,
will be healed. No.
okay.
But kasi the studies are, like if you speak medically, you look at studies done. So some studies will show that yes, it can be an adjuvant. So meaning a help.
Doc, ano yung adjuvant?
I'm so sorry.
Explain
yun
natin.
nga eh.
Okay.
Meaning, they did some studies and they showed that those patients, especially those who have recurrent UTIs, meaning
Okay.
if more than 3 times a year nagkaka-UTI yung patient, or those who are on indwelling catheters, or the young, if they take cranberry juice, or actually simple hydration will lower the risk for
Okay.
UTI. But if they take cranberry juice, then yes, it may lower the incidence of
Okay.
recurrent urinary tract infection. They said that something about the cranberry juice. So
Okay.
the phyto composition of that
Okay.
sort of prevents the microbes from adhering to the walls of the bladder.
So,
Okay.
nakakatulong siya pero
In a
hindi
way,
siya
yes,
sagot.
yes,
Ganon.
yes.
Okay. And then, is it true that a pap smear should be done every single year?
So now it has evolved. Before, that's why medicine is always evolving. Before, it used to be every year.
Okay.
So now the recommendation varies. So usually you can start your pap smear at age 21, or once you're sexually active but not younger than 21.
Okay.
And then you may do your pap smear every 5 years, as long as you are monogamous. Because of course, the risk of sexually transmitted infection, HPV infection.
Pero Doc,
Yes.
As long as your partner is also monogamous. Kasi kung
And
ikaw monogamous, tapos yung isa
ang
hindi,
galing mo, pwede.
makakalusot,
Yeah.
diba?
You know, I had a patient like that.
See?
She was a virgin when she got married.
Yeah.
And then she had early stage cervical cancer. Yeah.
Nako.
So
Yeah.
unfortunate, right?
So-
So the advice really always is use a barrier.
Okay.
It's not enough that you use a contraceptive like a pill to make you not get pregnant, but a barrier a condom,
Yes.
so that you are also protected from sexually transmitted infection. So now, there's even what we call an HPV DNA code testing or genotyping. So medyo
Ang daming words.
high-tech.
Hindi ko na naiintindihan.
We're giving that to, the pap smear is like doing the brush
You get the...
from the cervix.
Yeah, okay.
For infection
Okay.
and cancer testing.
Okay.
For cervical cancer. Now we have the same procedure, but it's HPV DNA typing. So this one, the readout is like a paper also. It's like
Okay.
a pap smear, but it will tell you if you are positive for the HPV strains causing cancer. So that
Okay.
is the advantage now, right? So we catch the patients earlier before they get the actual cancer. Yeah. So if you do that, if you co-test that, that's even a longer interval. So you can you can
Okay.
be tested every 5 years. Then once you hit your older, it doesn't even have to be every 5 years anymore.
Okay. Basta rin nga, monogamous yung partner.
Ang galing
Kasi
mo. Tama yun
Dapat
talaga.
sigurista tayo, guys. Kasi pwedeng kayo monogamous.
no,
baka
I have,
mamaya, diba?
I have couples fighting in front of me.
I'm sure.
Because the woman will have warts.
Yeah.
She says that, of course, she's a
Yeah.
virgin. And then the husband will say also, and then later on, will be
Lalabas.
apologetic. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not always the man, ha? Yun,
Yes.
that's why nga,
It can be
as long as,
either one.
Yes, as
Okay.
long as, that's why if you're sexually active, you have yourself tested religiously, have the HPV vaccine.
Okay.
Also for men, that's also given for men.
Okay.
Yes, because it's the virus that can cause genital warts, cervical cancer, vaginal, vulvar cancer, penile cancer, and anal cancer.
Okay.
So both men and women should have that. The younger you are, better. It offers more protection.
I didn't know men could also get the
Yes,
vaccine.
yes.
Okay. Our next question is, are hormones uncontrollable?
No, I don't. That's such a broad question.
I know,
We
it's
have
very
so
vague.
many hormones. I
Yeah.
think they're talking about female hormones.
Okay.
Right? So female hormones, there when we have our regular menses, we have our premenstrual syndrome, like our PMS.
Okay.
That speaks of a hormonal balance.
Okay.
So things that is the layman's term. Parang they're out of control. Yeah, when we have irregular menses or when we're hitting in the very early years, meaning immediately after menses, and then when we are going to the perimenopause, that's when our hormones sort of become not in sync or in harmony. That's why
Okay.
those are the times that our menstruation may be not as regular, meaning not every month. Okay?
And also, I wanted to ask that, is it okay for you to visit your OBGYN during menstruation?
Yes, in a way, if you have a complaint.
Parang,
if
I
there's,
think, sanay na rin kayo. Parang
Yeah.
blood is nothing to... diba, from residency
Of
to everything,
course.
normal na yan. Pero
Of
siguro, kung
course.
regular check-up lang, i-timingan mo rin naman.
No, unless the complaint is cycle dependent. So there are conditions like endometriosis. So it's a condition of women where the main symptom is painful menstruation.
Okay.
Excruciating. So sometimes they would come even in the
Yes.
emergency room.
Yes.
In severe pain.
Yeah.
And it's at the height of their menses. So it's not hard and fast rule. If you're menstruating because it's yucky, don't. No, of course not.
If there's something bothering you, still go.
During IVF, during in vitro fertilization, we see the patients on the second day of menses.
That's right, because you
Yeah,
start counting ovulating, right?
Yeah, because we start the
Ovulation,
medication, so we do the baseline scan, so we do the ultrasound, even if she's menstruating,
Okay.
take some blood tests, and then we start the injection. So, not
Okay.
really. But if it's not
Another one.
related, then please
Oo,
choose
wag na lang.
another.
'Di ba? Kung parang kung kayang iwasan in the sense na if it's just your yearly checkup and it's time to go,
Yeah.
wait a week na ba?
Because we cannot do pap smears when you're bleeding. Sayang ang punta.
Ah,
diba?
okay. Doble pa bayad
Yeah.
kasi babalik ka. So, be wise na rin.
Okay yun, yeah. But like when you time the transvaginal ultrasound, you want to do a transvaginal ultrasound, it's better right after menses.
Okay. Can we clarify the difference of going to an OBGYN versus a fertility doctor versus ano pa ba yung ibang specialty doon?
Madami. Like,
Marami.
yeah. So, yes, we have what we call a general OBGYN doctor.
So, sa ano yun sila?
So they take care of, they can do pap smears.
Okay.
If your complaint is about irregular menstruation, they can even address PCOS, so common
Okay.
conditions of women. But
Okay.
let's say that the chief complaint is infertility. You have difficulty getting pregnant or you have recurrent miscarriages, then we have, like me, a
Okay.
reproductive medicine specialist who can better help the patient. But infertility is not always like you go straight to us. Sometimes, if it's simple, meaning patient is not so old, there are no other comorbid lesions or conditions, the male has a normal semen analysis, then the general OBGYN can also treat that patient. So
Okay.
she refers to a reproductive endocrinology or infertility specialist when she can't help the patient anymore. So there's
okay.
usually a time frame wherein they refer to us.
Okay. Another person asks, do sports and an active lifestyle cause harm to women's fertility?
Unless you're too active, like athletes or ballerinas that really are too intense in their chosen sport or profession, they become amenorrheic or they don't
What's that?
menstruate. So they don't because the stress hormones are too much. So yes, in a way, it can harm the ovulation. So you don't ovulate.
Oh,
But if you're just a
okay.
regular, like you exercise 3 times a week, you do your Pilates, you do not really. Actually, it even helps.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a bit overweight or obese. So again, being obese increases pregnancy complications. So it's better to be on the healthier side before getting pregnant.
Okay, so Doc, you mentioned earlier when we were chatting that you're noticing a trend that a lot more OFWs or foreign patients are flying to the Philippines for IVF treatment. And it's actually funny because I did the opposite and I vlogged about it. I flew abroad naman for mine. But I want to talk about what trends are you noticing in the Philippines right now when it comes to IVF and our options here.
Thank you for asking that because IVF has been like in the world for decades. However, parang we're late bloomers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, primarily because we're a third world country or developing country and then because we're largely Catholic. So when IVF started in the Philippines, actually I was not one of them.
Okay.
But our mentors had to even discuss it with Cardinal Sin that time. So
okay.
if you notice here in the Philippines, even if it's already accepted, we don't advertise, right? Unlike in other countries.
Yeah.
So that was the first sort of hindrance. The second is cost. So all drugs, of course, are
It is expensive.
like sort of flown
Imported,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, so the taxes are hard. But now, what is nice is that we have a lot of IVF centers now here in the
Yeah.
Philippines. So I'm fellow of our society, and I think we have 8, and then more are opening up this year. And then so now the price is competitive. We all are trained, and we have the similar pregnancy rates. What we have that the other countries or the other doctors don't have really is TLC. So my patients tell me, like I have patients from Italy, I have patients from Singapore, that it's not only is it hard to have a consult, an appointment, and it's very quick,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes there's a language barrier.
Yes.
And you know naman here, the patients are so pampered. Some would even give their cell phone numbers
Yes.
to their patients. So I think that is what matters, that they can talk to the doctor, even to the nursing staff. And again, the success, we have comparable rates, and the
Okay.
cost is not as, I just had a patient who had her IVF cycles in the US, and it's much more costly
Yes.
than here. And Again, limitations, we don't have third-party ART, meaning we
What's
don't
that?
have donor sperm. We're not
Yes,
allowed. So
yes,
it's
yes.
unethical
Yeah.
For now to have
In the Philippines.
Yes, in the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Which is
Yeah.
why actually I chose to do it abroad. Just in case, para I have that choice.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Now that is the beauty. That
Yeah.
you have choices.
Yeah.
I have relatives who even told me, parang ate, we should have had
Yeah.
that before. So now we're in your early or mid 30s and you
Mm-hmm.
still haven't found the partner. You don't have to be pressured that have to marry the next
That's
guy.
true.
No, right? You can
That's
just
true.
store your eggs, or sometimes there are even medical indications, meaning it's not just the age. Let's say if you have endometriosis,
Yes.
you had surgery wherein one ovary was removed, right?
Yes.
Then yes, you have that is a
Give you higher
legit
chances
option, yeah,
for
to
down
just
the
store
road.
your eggs, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want them, you can just
Yeah.
dispose them. It's not a living thing.
Actually, yeah, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about in one of the questions that a listener sent over earlier. But I also wanted to touch about a lot of people, actually majority of the questions were the cost. And I think it's hard kasi for us to say, kunwari, ang daling sabihin na, 150,000 pesos lang. Pero hindi kasi. Because in my experience, Doc, maybe you can correct me or maybe it's different in the Philippines. But in my experience kasi, nag-iiba yung presyo depending on the dosage of the gamot na gagamitin
that's true.
sa'yo.
That's
And
true.
also kung ano yung medical history mo, diba? Or,
Yep, that's true. So, if you're talking about egg freezing, in a way, it's really cheaper than the regular IVF because usually the women coming in are younger. So the bulk of the cost really is
Ayun
dependent
din.
on the dose of the drug is dependent on the age,
okay.
the hormone level, and then the
Okay.
number of your baseline eggs.
Kumbaga yung parang AMH, diba?
Oh, you know. Yeah.
Kaya syempre napagdaanan
So
na
yes,
natin yan.
because the higher the AMH, better is. The better
Yeah.
for you. So that's why the egg freezing we don't really recommend for the very young. Like yung mga
Okay.
20s, I even
Not yet.
declined. No,
Ah.
kasi the chance of that lady or that woman getting pregnant in the next few years is higher and more cost effective than
So what would you say
not really
is
practical. So
A good age range.
so,
Range lang.
if you go by studies, they recommend that mid-30s. So like
Okay.
34 to 36, 34 to 30, that's the best time.
That's the best time.
Kasi nga by that time, of course younger, like 32 if you want na okay. Pero 24, 26, no.
Too young
it's
pa.
too young. Kasi nga
Okay.
you might find the love of your life or right.
That's
then
right.
get pregnant naturally.
Yeah.
Right? So it's more cost effective. And some who do that, like for some reason, they did that and then they get spontaneously pregnant, they will just discard the egg
Yeah.
unless they want it for future use when they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's indicated, let's say you're a cancer patient, of course, any age, you can store your eggs.
So again, guys, also I want to remind everyone who's listening and watching this, this is not medical advice, and don't just listen to us and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I saw it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Also check with your doctor.
Yeah.
Kasi kanya-kanya tayo ng
Yep.
medical history or kung ano man yung mga cancer markers or
Yes,
whatever,
yes,
right?
yeah.
Actually, I like that you mentioned, so a good age is 34 to 36 because a lot of people asked, one listener asked, is 29 too late? And then another one said, is 35 too late? So 29 is not too late.
29 is not too late, but it may be too early unless the best thing really is to go see your infertility specialist.
And check your levels.
Yes, you are right. Kasi sometimes you're at 29 but your AMH is low.
Yes.
Sometimes that happens, like especially if you're a smoker, that lowers your fertility level.
Yeah.
Or if you have other comorbids, like you have endometriosis, you have PCOS, those things can make you have infertility
Yeah.
at the top of your parang major issues. Yes.
That's the thing I also tell my friends, having gone through it myself, is that the first step is really to check where your body is at. Kasi, like I mentioned, iba-iba tayo ng hormone levels, stress levels, lifestyle, right? So, it's really important for you guys to check so that you know where you're at. And so, one listener asks, is it normal that I get very light periods every 2 to 3 months?
She's asking if it's an abnormal bleeding pattern. So depends on her age.
Okay.
So if she's an adolescent, it may still be normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when we're young, we just had like our puberty until roughly 18. sometimes our menstruation can still be irregular. But during the reproductive peak, like you're in your mid-20s, that's not normal anymore.
Okay.
So you may have conditions that can cause that. So you need to see your OBGYN.
And another listener asks, does experiencing dysmenorrhea, which is menstrual pain, during every period, does that mean na may sakit ka na? Or does it indicate that you have an illness?
Like I mentioned, diba, it can be physiologic, meaning sometimes it can be normal.
Okay.
Because it speaks is your regular, especially if you have PMS, yung premenstrual syndrome, like the other symptoms that accompany right before you have menses, then it may mean that you're ovulating. But if it's getting to be more severe, and then sometimes not related to your cycle anymore, and then sometimes even related to painful sexual intercourse or other bowel GI symptoms, then that is not normal. So you should,
Okay.
or if you have to take a pain reliever every time that you have your menses, then that may not be normal.
So, kumbaga, if it's mga konting kirot-kirot lang, that's normal.
yes.
Pero if it's to the point na hindi ka na makalakad or
Of course.
makatayo.
Or kahit nga hindi masyado like basta more of increasing Kahit na hindi na to the point, you don't need to reach that
level.
10 pain. Like if you used to be at 2, 3 and then it's becoming 5.
Okay.
Might
Check
as well
na rin.
see. Yes.
Actually, Doc, you also mentioned PMS. Now, a lot of my friends use that term so loosely. And I think online, a lot of people just say na anything regarded or any symptom that regards to the menstrual cycle, everyone just says PMS, right? It's this whole blanket statement. But what frustrates me, and maybe we can clarify here, is it means pre-menstrual syndrome.
Which is consists of symptoms.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it doesn't mean, it's not part of when you're menstruating na, right?
No. It's the
it's the week before.
It's the week or two before you
Okay.
menstruate. So, again, this is physiologic or parang normal in a way. Yung food cravings,
Yan.
you're feeling bloated.
Malakas sa akin yan.
Yeah, totoo yun. That we gain a bit of mood swings, you're a bit
Yes.
more. You know, in the olden times, they even used that as a defense in the court when you're in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
But that's why they call us crazy. But
Yeah.
that's not really true. So it can be physiologic,
Okay.
PMS. But if you don't have it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Breast tenderness.
Okay.
That can also be part of your PMS.
So, is there a term for any symptoms you feel during the period? Or
No, if during the menstruation, it's not PMS anymore.
ibang term na
yeah.
yon? Okay. Para clear lang, guys. Para clear. Okay. So,
You know, my daughters, even my daughter, when like we argue and then she's so emotional, and then she will tell me, "Mama, so sorry, I'm so emotional. I'm about to have."
yeah. That's
She
me
even
also.
knows that, yeah.
I will
And-
cry at
Yeah.
small commercials on YouTube. Pag
Yeah.
nakita ko, iiyak na lang ako. I'm like, malapit
Yes,
na.
yes. So that is physiologic. So you don't blame yourself or you don't say, "No, ang arte mo." No.
Yeah.
It's justifiable. Basta naman not too extreme because there is what we call the PMDD, the premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
What's that?
That one is it's more serious. Like you're
Okay.
more depressed. Or that one needs really a consult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's extreme na, guys,
Yes,
consult your
you-
doctor also. So now let's go into the IVF/egg freezing questions. This is actually a great question, and I think it differs per country. She asks, what happens if she already froze her eggs na? So nandun na sila, frozen. And then down the road, she decides ayaw na niya magkaanak. What is her choice in the Philippines for that? What will happen to the eggs?
Yeah, so here, if you store your eggs, depends on the IVF center you go to, you sort of pay for annually for
Yes.
the storing.
Storage
so if you
fee.
don't want,
Yeah.
minimal naman, storage fee. But if you don't want your eggs anymore, like I said, they are not living things.
Yeah.
So you just tell the IVF center that you will not use them anymore, then they can be discarded.
Okay.
So in the Philippines, what is good is we do not have an agreement that we will use this for research or we will donate.
Yeah.
No, that is not allowed in the Philippines. So it's unethical. So we just you just really dispose
You
them.
can dispose.
Yes.
That's the option here.
Yeah.
And in my experience naman, when I did it in the US, they give you, parang,
Ah,
they
yeah.
make you fill out a form.
Choices, no?
Parang you have a choice. Kasi also, knock on wood, they say that what if something happens to you?
Yes.
What do you want to happen to the
yeah,
eggs,
yeah,
right? Like, do
yeah.
you want to donate to science?
Yes.
If you're married, do you want to donate to your husband? If you change your mind, do you want to dispose? So, make sure you check also with the clinic. Kasi
Yes,
depende
yes,
rin
that's
sa
true,
clinic
that's
that
true.
you're checking
That's
with.
why that third party IVF is really tricky.
Yeah.
Diba? So we have to study that because that is the main essence. Like if you have if you want to donate, here we don't have, for now.
Yeah.
We're evolving.
Constantly.
We don't have that clause yet na, oh, I can donate this to science, or
Yeah.
I can donate it to my friend,
Or pwede rin
yeah.
your sibling, di
Yes,
ba?
no,
Pwede
none
none
of
yet.
those yet. Yeah.
Okay. Our last 3 questions is, someone asks, can someone with an irregular period be a candidate for egg freezing as well?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
pwede.
As long as she's menstruating, and like what we mentioned, Nicole, right? We test your AMH, so that's a blood test to check your ovarian reserve.
Yes.
Because if you're irregular, then it may mean that you're not, either you have little eggs or you have so many eggs.
Yeah.
The PCOS. So yeah.
Okay. And then another person asks, I had 2 miscarriages already, and then she found out that right now she's pregnant again. So I'm guessing this is her 3rd pregnancy. How can she avoid having another miscarriage?
Well, congratulations to you
Yeah.
on your 3rd pregnancy. However, it would have been better if she was tested first
Before
she got pregnant. Because,
Okay.
one miscarriage is sporadic, what we call by chance.
Okay.
It can happen to anybody. But then 2 miscarriages is already a sort of needs investigation. So we need
Okay.
to find the cause. So it can be immunologic, it can be infectious, it can be something inside the cavity.
Yeah.
But now that she's pregnant, she can still be tested for those.
Okay.
Okay, and then if it turns out to be like I'm sure some of them know about the antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, like the
Okay.
APAS, then treatment can be started so that she will hopefully not lose that 3rd pregnancy.
Okay, so I think definitely check
She needs
with
a
her
consult,
doctor.
yes.
Yeah, check with her doctor. Okay, our last question, let's keep it light. Our listener writes, what vitamins can you take to make you fertile and ready to conceive?
Yeah. Broad question.
I know,
So
super
first,
broad.
the vitamin or the supplement that we all need, like usually the advice of the WHO and the medical societies is a month or 2 before getting pregnant, they should be on folic acid.
Okay.
So that has been proven to lower the risk of brain and spinal cord abnormalities in babies. So that's important. But if you are asking me like to make you fertile, actually being healthy. So one is, if you're overweight or obese, you need to lose weight.
Okay.
If you're a smoker or a heavy alcohol beverage drinker, you need to stop.
Okay.
Right? And then if you eat all the right kinds of food, so less of the meat, less of the fatty food, junk food, processed food, and then more of the veggies, the fish, and then get a good exercise. Some would take supplements, but there's really no hard evidence that we have. As long as we're eating the right kind of
Yeah.
food, we have it. But if you're for IVF already, then that's when we start giving them supplements.
Got it. Okay, so I'm assuming she's just gonna
Yeah,
ready to try,
yes,
prepare. So siguro physically prepare na.
Yes.
So with your lifestyle, ganyan, just to be a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that is all of our listener questions. I want to say thank you so much, Doc,
Thank
for
you also,
spending the
Nicole.
time. And again, I think the point of this conversation is for us to not be ashamed about asking these questions and to have these conversations, because there are so many, especially in our culture, ang daming kasabihan na
yeah.
sinasabi sa atin from our titas or our caregivers that aren't necessarily backed by science or could be different for you because of whatever medical history you might have, right? So I think it's always so important to arm yourself with all the knowledge and the information that you can. And again, don't take this as medical advice. Really seek your own medical professional. So if you guys want to also reach out to Doctora, her details will be in the description box and the show notes down below. And yeah, make sure to advocate for yourself, for your health, not just in Women's Month, but in every month, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we all want to be not just mentally healthy, but also physically
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So yeah, thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and have a blessed day and happy Women's Month again.
Yes. Happy Women's Month, guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye.